Mr. Magley, how you doing?
I'm fantastic, Matthew. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on the program. First of all, congratulations on this past season. Pretty good, pretty entertaining year. How did you see it as a season for the league, and what do you look forward to in terms of now having 9 teams for next year?
Well, we had an incredible year, and we believe we'll have 10 by the time the season starts, with 5 teams in the Maritimes and 5 teams in Ontario, which is a net 2 new ones. Anytime you can shore up the funding of every single franchise we needed to, and at the same time increase the Canadian content of the ownership piece, which really is important. And not that foreign investment doesn't help, but when you've got people that are the face of your organization that are local running it, really helps a lot. And whether it was Moncton or Windsor, we've added some really strong local flavor to what we're doing that we didn't have before. And it's just in a good place. We had a great 7-game series. A lot of our guys have gotten big-time contracts overseas, and a lot of people are excited to come in. So with 10 teams, the league's growing, and your initial conversation about Quebec may be prophetic because we aggressively want to be in the Montreal-Laval area this year. I mean, Laval has that new arena going in, and we would love to be having a tenant in there for you.
So that kind of brings me to my next point. Looking at the history of the NBL, recently in 2012, there was a team called the Montreal Jazz that didn't do too well here just because of the lack of ownership. The gentleman in charge of that team, Pascal Jobin, did a phenomenal job in 2006 with the ABA, which had some great momentum and crowds of well over 1,000 for some games, including broadcasts on this station. And then he was let go, and things kind of fell by the wayside after that. Why didn't things work in 2012, if you have any info on that, and do you think things can work here in the future?
Well, I think they absolutely can work. I think from my recollection, I was not in the league that season, but I know quite a bit about what happened. And we had a team in Quebec City, and we moved it, the ownership group, actually the league took over the team and moved it to Montreal. And, I think we played in an old venue. It happened very late at the last minute, very little promotion money. We put very, very few dollars into the players. We only got guys that could pretty much stay there on their own. And so the team wasn't very good. I think they were 2-38. And when you look at that, no city's going to support that, especially a major pro city like Montreal. We do it the right way. We find the right ownership this season to come in for next year with a lot of promotion the right way. We build a really solid team with a good partner in the venue that we have in a market like Laval that would really like to have another tenant to their new venue. I think it could be a wonderful place. And once we're back in Quebec, then we go back to Quebec City and try to find the right thing and really tie in our eastern part of our expansion plans, because right now we jump over a whole province to go from the Maritimes to Ontario, and that's not by design at all. It's just the way things fall into place.
Chatting with David Magley of the National Basketball League of Canada. You can check out their website, nblcanada.ca, for more information. They'll have what the commissioner's saying, possibly 10 teams this coming season. Why Montreal or Laval, more precisely, over Quebec City to start with in this province potentially for 2017?
Well, part of all expansion comes from a motivated partner, and the folks that are building the new Laval Center really desire to have a tenant. So now we've got a partner to help us market the opportunity to a community. Whereas if I go into Quebec City cold, then I've got to kind of find someone to warm a market for me and give me a chance to get in front of someone and talk to them. So, it just seems to make more sense. It's not one's more preferable than the other, just one we have more interest in. I mean, we're aggressively looking at Sudbury for the following year, and that is because we've got a couple different groups of people that really want to bring basketball to Sudbury. There's a new venue in conversation in that market. So it only makes sense for us to be a new tenant in that. And so we really look at each market. There's so many in our existing footprint, like Kingston and Ottawa, that we have to get in yet. and maybe even Fredericton in the Maritimes. So, we're not completely tapped out where we're at today, but then we have the whole other half of the country that we can get into, and we know that British Columbia and Alberta has great basketball as well. So it's only a matter of time until the 52 major junior hockey venues, maybe half of those, maybe 20 to 24 will have pro basketball in it, which we think will create one of the most dominant leagues in the world outside of the NBA. And we're excited by that because basketball is the most popular participation sport in Canada. There's more NBA players from Canada than any country in the world outside of the U.S. When you had your Olympic team last year, there were 13 players that were from the NBA, and it's just growing. So there's more Division I players from the Greater Toronto area than New York City. So there's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't grow basketball in this amazing country.
If you look at the league right now, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I will. What is the model franchise? What is the model right now that to you kind of personifies the success that the NBL can have in Canada? What franchise does it right now, and why?
It's simple. The London Lightning has done it right from beginning to end, and that's largely in part because they've got an owner named Vito Fergia, who is a local guy, a local developer, and he just willed people into the stand. So when you say there were some games that the Jazz had over 1,000 people, Vito by himself sold 1,000 courtside season tickets his first year. He averages 6,000 fans, which is more than any other pro basketball team in North America that's not in the NBA. So you look at that franchise that makes money. The team's always competitive. Their players get a chance to get paid and treated very well. You make certain they're fed well. They stay in great housing. And they're celebrities in their community. But the secret there is they're in the community. Vito has them in front of a lot of schools. Vito has them in front of events. We can do things that even junior hockey can't because we look different than junior hockey players. Junior hockey players look like any other high school student except for they've got bigger thighs. Our guys are walking in at 6'10", and they just look different, and they have a chance to deliver a message. So when we say stay in school or don't do drugs or don't be a bully, whatever our school system wants us to deliver, we can get involved in the community really quick, and that's what Vito did. So if you want to look at what we have to do, we have to be engaged in the community. We have to have the people see, feel, and touch us and experience it. I promise you come to one of our games, you'll be hooked. It is as fast as the NBA, if not faster, because we can't afford quality 7-footers to run up and down the court. So that leaves the open wide open, the middle wide open, and our games are fast. I mean, we have a very fast, high-scoring game, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
Just wrapping up with Commissioner David Magley of the National Basketball League. How does a guy who was drafted in the second round in the NBA, was Mr. Indiana, end up as the commissioner of a Canadian basketball league?
I would say that's providential grace. That's God saying that I have an opportunity for you because it doesn't make sense. It was a situation where I was a high school coach at a small private Christian school in Florida, and I was fortunate to coach a young man named Jameson Tipping. And when they wanted to grow basketball, his family is just committed to basketball. They're from Canada, they're from Orangeville, Ontario. And when the Tippings wanted to grow into a prep school program, which I would argue is one of the best in the world right now, Orangeville Prep and the Athlete Institute, they'd asked me to come up and kind of consult and help them some. And I was fortunate to be a small part of that. And while being there, their facility hosted an NBL Canada franchise combine. And next thing you know, they asked us would we buy a franchise, and James Tipping graciously did, and we put our first franchise through him into Brampton, Ontario, and that later moved to his facility in Orangeville. But that brought me up here as a GM and head coach, and I had 2 really nice years working for that family and having success, and we were up 3-1 in the semifinals to go to the finals, and we lost that lead and lost the series, and I think it was probably time for me to become the commissioner, because if I can't win a 3-1 series, maybe I should be a leader instead of a coach. So I got a chance to be a part of that, and I've loved it. The fans are amazing. They're great to interact with, and we had an incredible year last year. So I'm really fortunate to be a small part of this league, and just excited. I love Canada. I just love being there. Everything about it, from the healthcare to the fans, is just amazing, and we just think the opportunity is unbelievable up here.
David?
So you played under Phil Jackson. I just want to know what that was like, and what did you learn playing under a guy like him?
Funny as a player, I didn't like Phil. Phil did almost like hockey substitutions, not 5 in, 5 out, but he did rotations that were at 4 minutes, 3 guys went out. At 6 minutes, the other 2 went out. At 8 minutes, the other 4 came back in. And while at first as a player I didn't understand it, the more I got used to it, that's how I've always coached now, because it really was much more of a team and efficient use of your energy, and we got really, really good as a high school coach and as a pro coach using his system. Phil's different. I mean, he's a Zen Buddhist Christian, so it sure led for us to have some great faith conversations, and I just enjoyed being around him because he obviously knew how to win. His first championship as a coach was coaching us in the CBA, the Albany Patroons, and he would go on to have obviously quite a bit of success that I can take no credit for, but it was sure fun getting to be a part of it.
He is David Magley of the National Basketball League. You can check out the website again at nblcanada.ca. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Commissioner. Really appreciate it.
Guys, it's so important to us, and we really hope we can be in the greater Montreal area for the 2017-18 season. We're seriously going up there looking for people, so anyone that knows anyone that thinks they're the right people, please contact us to that. You can reach me at commissioner@nblcanada.ca. Have a wonderful Sunday, and again, thanks for including me in it.
Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.